Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for joining us for our episode 26 of season 4, our hot topics for round 5, Chris.
Yeah, we've gotten through the first, I suppose, correction trade round, and now we're at round 4, and there's panic stations, and there's injuries, and there's everything.
Everything's
going
crazy. Everything is going on. I feel for those who brought in Shannon Hurn this week.
All 1,600 people.
Oh, ouch.
Unlucky.
Ouch town. But before we go on, let's start off with our socials. We are SC Insider 100. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, on Twitch, and our audio platforms as well. Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, PlayerFM, and Podbean. Chris.
He actually, you guys don't see this. He's written it down on the wall behind the camera so he doesn't stuff it up anymore. I respect you. Well done, sir.
And on YouTube, just search for a Supercoach Insider.
Yeah, well done.
Okay,
congratulations.
So we're going to do something a little bit different as far as format. We're going straight into, which is why we've sort of renamed it our Hot Topics podcast, straight into the information that you want to know, the things that you're hanging out for. And if you want to know how we score each week, the trades we have made and what we're considering for the week, we might actually join them together and put it up on the line in a podcast format as well. Otherwise, YouTube for us, and you can see what we're doing. That way you can specifically find us and what we're doing instead of us clogging up the audio feeds each week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit better in terms of how we deliver the content. And we've got those people that obviously love to complain about everything, so...
Also known as Chris's ex-wife.
Yeah.
That's like, can I make those jokes?
Sure. Well, everybody else is.
Now, first thing though, very, very, very important special announcement here is we have got the Juicy IPAs. Juicy. Now, this is donated, and you know today is sponsored by Jeremiah Brown. Jeremiah, mate, kudos to you. Chris, you're gonna crack one from the other side?
Mate, I'm going to crack one from your side because I know how you drink it. So.
Touche. Now, this is juicy. We had to travel to grab this. Oh, hang on.
It says treat like milk on the can and drink from the can. What? I'm so confused.
Treat like milk.
Oh, yeah. That's decent. It's
wow.
A nice little IPA. It's lighter than I thought it would be. I thought it was
New England.
Like a very fruity IPA, but it's actually quite nice. Hits the right tunes.
Stings the nostrils. Jeremiah Brown, thank you. And we love our beer donations. This is what gets us through and keeps us ticking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeremiah. Beautiful.
Who's next for next week? No, just kidding. But first thing we're going to go is we have some news, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I've been hanging on to this for a little bit. We have some answers. I like to send my emails, and sometimes you have to pay for a response. However, here is a response, Chris.
Yeah, this one's pretty good, actually.
Dane the man Zorko is kind enough to accept my money.
Hey, Benny boy, Zorky, mate. I don't remember you offering me a coffee. That's not to say you didn't.
Fuck up, Chris.
But I certainly must have forgotten, mate. But next time, I'll tell you what. If you come up to me about a cafe or if you see me out, make sure you come and say hello. I'll get you a coffee, and then you can show it up the boys that have been giving you shit since, mate, alright? That'll teach them. But hope you have a good year with Supercoach. Hopefully you pick me up. Hopefully I can get a couple of scores for it as well. And remember, go the Lions. Cheers, mate.
What a rig.
The naked magician.
Half naked. Go to
in this as well.
Go to YouTube. Hey, I'm not even upset. So you heard it here first. He may or may not remember who I am unequivocally.
Also good to know he knows whereabouts he is in Supercoach because his 12 clangers last week were not good, buddy. All right? He was not pumping out the good scores last week. But no, we do love the Zorks. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanking you. So there you heard it. He will buy me a coffee if I ever get the balls to find him.
You have to walk up to him and be like, "Oi, so remember that guy who got you on Swish and asked about the coffee and blah blah," and he'll be like, "No."
We need to make shirts that have Supercoach Insider on it, and on the back, I'm going to have it, like stitched in. Dane Zorko owes me a coffee. So if I see him, I can turn around and point to my back and be like, "Dude, you owe me a fucking coffee." So there you go. We have answers.
Or just buy front row tickets, and when he kicks a goal and swing around, hey, you owe me a coffee.
Show up to training for an autograph and then turn around.
I like it a lot. I like it.
Well, that's my best shot. Otherwise, if I have a hot sister, maybe,
Do you?
No. No, that's not what I meant. I meant no, he's not going there.
That's
Fuck up.
fantastic.
I'm too busy thinking forward. All right, so on our agenda for today, we're going to look at hot topic number 1 is non-playing rookies, what you can or cannot do.
I just noticed that Damien actually asked this exact question on Facebook. So, yeah, thanks for that, Damien.
And number 2, for our, for those paying attention, we're going for the busted or wasted, similar to the Grand Theft Auto, suspended or injured players. Are they busted or are they wasted? Then we're going for underperforming premiums, what I like to call the Josh fucking Kelly playlist. And fourth of all, we have upgrading eyes. So those who are actually looking to bring in our side nice and promptly. So Chris, going to the non-playing rookies, what are your thoughts?
We do have some rookie news. So Highmore was obviously not listed to play tomorrow. So we obviously had the St Kilda teams come in. I do think he plays at some stage. I think you can afford to hold him. And with the new rookies that we've got coming in, obviously we had Chapman last week. Liam Jones is on the horizon for next week. There's people you can bring in to cover if you need to. Cozzy is also likely to come in. So if you have Cozzy this week, Mitch Lewis was suspended. So it's likely that Cozzy comes straight back in. Now, having said that, it's also likely that he might go straight out the next week. But at least if you say have Caleb Daniel and you just need that one player on field just to get you anything but a 0, Cozzy could be that this week. Also, I heard Sharp played really well in the twos.
He did. He's in line for a possible recall, which would be nice.
Yeah, so I don't think it's panic stations just yet. And I mean, if you have Sharp, you've probably got Clark. You could probably swing that back into your defense as well. There are other options. If you got on Chapman, great. I also think that Chapman could be someone that you still could get if there's a situation in your team. Like, I wouldn't be paying up necessarily to get him unless you just have the cash lying around.
I'd rather go Jones, I think, than pay for Chapman for that. You know, he was already
Jones
expensive. Yeah, but Chapman was already expensive. I don't see the point in paying an extra 100K or 50K on top of that. So that's my opinion there. Henry, Chris, am I fucked?
Yeah, you made a fucking issue there. The problem with any of the Collingwood rookies, especially like Finn Macrae's been announced to play this week.
Yeah.
He'll be a really good rookie. Now, the problem is with him, with Henry, there's Bo McCreary, that played last week.
McGuinness.
Yep, you've still got Reef McInnes to come in. You've still got Caleb Poulter to come in. You've still got Jay Rantle. Trent Bianco's injured, but he'll come in sometime this year. So there's potentially 6 or 7 rookies that are going to get game time. So it could be a working rule. Roulette wheel. Like every week, who's going to play? Now, I hope that Buckley does give them all decent game time, and it's probably horses for courses. But at any given time, they could just. I wouldn't be going early on a Finn Macrae. I wouldn't be going early on an Oliver Henry or similar.
But if Macrae is playing midfield, even if he's yet to play a game, I don't care. Based on his name, right? If he plays midfield, if he's lined up midfield, would you play Macrae on the field, or would you play a Row on the field?
Row, you mean?
Row, yeah,
you
Row.
Really need
Row.
to learn how to pronounce his
name.
name.
I'm playing the roulette Row.
Row your boat.
Right.
No, I would 100% play Finn Macrae on field this week.
See, that's what I'm saying. Points on field.
But
midfielder, role of rotation.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be bringing him in. There's just no way I would do it. Like if it was week 3 and I had 2 exposed scores and I was bringing him in, then sure. But I'm not bringing him in just to maybe gain 10 to 20 points on Row, and then Row jumps 100 and Finn Macrae's dropped next week. Like, Supercoach gods have done worse. All right, I'm just saying. So
remember how I brought in Cumming nice and early after one game?
I do remember that. That was really fun. I did that too. That was around the buys.
Why couldn't it be 2021 right now for that one? So, okay, interesting there. So you're saying nay to Macrae.
Not right now. Like I'm saying in 2 weeks, you're going to have, it's a perfect time in 2 weeks. He's mid-forward.
Yeah.
You've got all these rookies that are going to be due in 2 weeks.
And it's been perfect because those rookies are still premature.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's something Chris knows, it's prematureness.
I knew premature. However, when are we talking about downgrades?
Oh, downgrades.
So
there's only one rookie really. It's Waterman.
There's 3. So Waterman is really the only one worth talking about though. The problem with Waterman is you've probably already got all these slow burn forwards in your team, right? So you've got Scott or McNeil or Rowe, Fullerton, all of these guys that are probably averaging anywhere between 30 to 55. that are going to take 6 to 8 weeks to make you cash. Now, unfortunately, Waterman looks like that because even though he's scored, 81 and 57, I believe, he's still scored 2 goals in both of those games to achieve that score. There's going to be a game where he doesn't get a goal and he's going to literally get you a 20, just like a lot of the rookies have so far this
And
year.
Essendon were competitive in both of those games.
Yeah. So, I don't mind him because he is basement price.
But would you go, say, a Henry to a Waterman just to make 30K because Henry's a spud? Like, some other people, they've got some rookies that are pretty shit as well.
I think that's a correction trade though. That's
it's not a making money.
You're doing that to gain cash from Waterman because you don't think Henry's going to be in there. Now, if Henry was going to be in the team the next 4 weeks, Bo Macrae wouldn't have played because he could have come in instead of Bo Macrae. That's his role. Like he could have played that small forward role. So I don't think, especially with the way Macrae played.
I have a query on Bo Macrae. Who the fuck is he?
Well, he had 8 tackles and a goal, mate. So you should understand.
Well, I'm Macraeus.
We only just got him in this year's draft. He's a medium type pressure forward.
Yeah, he tackled a lot forward, 50 tackles. My God.
Yeah, he was getting up and down the ground. I really like him. Again, he's another one of those guys, small forwards. Is he going to be able to continue this? He's another guy that we can have a look on the bubble next week. I'm not sure. For the extra, he's only won 17K. I'd honestly just rather grab the 15K from Waterman, but it does depend. Again, none of the rookies really are ready. So the only reason why you would trade in Waterman is because you desperately needed a trade-in target this week. So for you, I could understand because you need to try and maximize that Henry mistake.
Well, yeah, but I could also wait a couple of weeks and go for a Macquarie or a Macrae.
You could, yeah, absolutely. But you won't gain any cash out of that. And that's the only thing.
Yeah, I know. That's a tough one. So it really depends on your situation for your team, how many trades you've made already, if you think he is worthwhile as well.
It's very team dependent. I mean, the only reason I'm looking at doing it, like I'm actually trading out Jones. Jordan, sorry. Now, I don't think Jordan trading out is necessarily a must-have this week, must thing to do. But for reasons that I'll go into the podcast, I need to make that trade this week for my future trades to work. So I'll go into that into the other podcast, but
that's fine. But tell us though, Jordan, why you think he is not a must trade out because that is relevant.
Yeah, his time on ground has progressively gotten worse since the return of Heeney.
56% this week.
Yeah, so it went from 73.
Horrible.
So 73% week 1, then it was down to 65 for the 66 for the next 2 weeks, and then this week was 56. So it's just progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. Even if he gets named, I just can't see him making enough cash. Also, his role's slightly changed.
Oh, so you are getting rid of him. I thought you were saying he's not necessarily out.
Oh, I'm definitely getting rid of him.
Right, okay, yeah. He's 100%. Gone. His break-even's pretty shit too.
But he'll still make, even scoring shit, he should still make you another 50K. So I don't think he needs to go this week. I just think that
I'm not sure he gets
of the guys
named.
There, I think he gets named.
Well, I think he's good value, but when you're playing someone 56% of the game, why the fuck are they there?
They're there to he's there to
fill a gap, fill a role.
Literally.
You come on and play when Clayton Oliver's off the field. You come on and play when Viney's off the field. That's it.
100%. He's literally plugging in the holes either in the forward line or the midfield when they need rests. That's all he's doing.
Man, that sucks because Viney's
a shit role.
The good mids aren't even feeding you the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What hope have you got?
You've got to try and make the most of the time on ground that you have, and unfortunately, he just hasn't the last week or two. So yeah, it's unfortunate for him right now. I can't see that changing without an injury to their midfield, and that sort of leaves him in a bit of a predicament right now. So
well, with Viney, that could be any week.
But again, I do think that he can probably still make 50K if you want to hold him. I don't think he's not a must trade out. You're not going to lose cash on him really.
No, but the problem is that low score of 24 or whatever
it's now
was
in
that.
His cycle.
It's in his cycle.
You're going to have to keep him for 2-3 weeks.
It's also the Caleb Daniel effect, which I'm talking about short stocks. Okay, so Chapman is predicted to go up another 56,000 this week at 207,000K. Would you bring him in if you don't have him already?
I think there are situations where you should bring him in. Like, say, for example,
if you have Heimer on field. Yeah.
Like, if you can't field someone because you've got Daniel and you want to hold him, I don't see a problem with bringing in Chapman because I think based on his scoring right now, Chapman is the sort of guy that's going to be able to get to 300, 350K. So you're still going to be able to make enough to justify the trade. and he's a good scorer on field. What's happened now is almost like a negative against not having him because so many people brought him in. So, and a lot of people are playing him on field. So if he's scoring a lot of 80s people, or 90s and you're playing
if he's on field,
yeah,
then it hurts. And the reason is because Young got injured, so a lot of people were forced to trade, and he was the logical choice at the logical time, which is why I brought him in, because I felt so many people were bringing him in.
Yep.
So I actually brought him in just to kind of negate that.
Well, the interesting thing this week's actually going to be the rookie rucks. So,
is Flynn going to be named?
Well, I don't think he will be, because based on what the coach has said, he's sort of talked down Mummy playing back-to-backs, which I understand. But then he said he also still wants to get games into Briggs. Now, we flagged this in the preseason that Flynn, yep, he's probably the number one, but at any time, Briggs can come in for just a week. You know, he wants to develop him as a ruckman as well. So it might not be Flynn that actually returns this week. It could be Briggs. And then you're really screwed.
What if you have Flynn at R2 and you were like, fuck this, I'm taking Tracy for a week? Or if you don't even have that, if you copped a 0, then what are you doing? Can you rely on Flynn for the year?
No,
as an R2, that is.
Oh no, definitely not.
No, I agree.
And the other problem is that Rory Lobb could come back this week. So if he comes back, is Meek still playing? Because I would say that their best combination is probably going to be Darcy Ruck 1 and Ruck 2 is Rory Lobb as a forward target.
Yep.
So I can't see them playing all three of them. No, I can see Tracy playing with them because Tracy looks like a serviceable forward regardless.
Yeah, whereas Meek's not as serviceable as a forward. It's the old, was it Archie Smith for the Lions? He couldn't play forward, which is why the Big O actually got a gig ahead of him in the forward line, and then when he could have a chance in the ruck, he dominated. So
now there's a chance Hunter could play this week, even though they have named Marshall.
Oh, he could be a laid out, right?
Yeah, they've said that they don't know if he's going to be all right. He played in the captain's run today. Yeah, left his Christopher's. Played in the captain's run, and he actually tore his plantar fascia, and apparently it's better than straining it. When you tear it, I don't know how that works. It's someone else.
It's under your foot. That. How does a big boy run?
I don't know, but
right. Well, that's kind of getting into our injured and was it wasted and
yeah. So I mean, what that means is Hunter might play. I don't know. We won't know until tomorrow night, last minute. But something to keep an eye on. The other one that is a rookie is Luke Parks. And I just don't think he's got the scoring potential there to be able to do it. He plays a lot more lockdown than I was hoping because in the twos he was generally an intercept defender, but he's definitely playing more lockdown to try and free up the Carlton defenders there. So
lastly on the rookies, Lachlan Jones, Bo McCreary.
Yep.
McCreary. Jeez, what a creepy Creary kind of name. Would you bring either of those boys in early unless it's dire straits?
I wouldn't bring either of them unless you absolutely needed to, but Lachie Jones is the one. The problem is Lachie Jones the reason why he didn't start round 1 is that they've got so much depth on the half back line at Port Adelaide.
Yes, but injury.
Right. So
injury, you're looking at Dersma's gone, Butters, obviously, I can't believe it's not Butters, is gone.
Yes. Now, what they did this week to actually fit Jones in is they moved Houston to midfield, which kills me because I think he scores better from behind the ball. But Houston in midfield is great for Jones from his job security potential if they're going to hold him there. Now, with Butters and Dersma out, you would think that is the likely scenario is that they keep Houston in midfield because they're going to need an extra midfielder there. And that really secures up his job security. You just don't know though. So
no, Rockcliffe had a concussion last week as well, so they were forced not to play him, so that might have brought Houston in. Now Houston might stay there or Rockcliffe might come in. They still have some options.
Yeah, there's a few that they're looking at. I know Bonner is one that they talked about. Bergman obviously is on the cusp. And also Woodcock apparently played very well in the twos as well. And Jackson Mead is another one that they've got there that they want to play through. So there is a few different options.
Side note, do you think the Port recruiter just gets hard on Woodcock and Bonner?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just goes for phallic names.
Look, Bo McCreary, I just need to see another game. He's, again, a small forward.
Would you wait a week if you could, though? Would you wait a week if you could instead of getting Waterman? Last point. Would you get Waterman or would you wait a week for one of those boys if you weren't stressed?
Oh, if I didn't need to, I wouldn't get either of them. I don't think next week's going to be early enough to downgrade. Really, I mean, if you want to get one, I don't know, and you didn't need to. I just don't see the point in getting either. I don't think you should trade this week unless you absolutely have to.
Okay, done. Beautiful. All right, cool. Let's move on to the busted or wasted, suspended or injured players. Good old Grand Theft Auto. I believe Caleb Bottomshelf, Daniel. Now, JT, shout out to Jez Butler, Mark Redburn, and a lot of other people on Twitter and Facebook have been saying, yes, that is me. Oh, man, that's an interesting one. We're also looking at what to do with I Can't Believe It's Not Butters, looking for Butters alternatives. Isaac, I'm always injured. Heeney. Taylor, they need me. Adams, and I'm always hurt. Hurn. Now, we'll start from the top is Caleb Daniel. He's 467K with a break even of 159. Suspended for a week, apart from putting up shit scores like a 19. Ends up spear tackling people, which I don't know how. His core strength must be huge. Or that low center of gravity going in his favour, Chris?
Yeah, trade. Absolutely trade. I don't think there's any way around not trading him.
30% owned. He is shitting the bed. Not metaphorically speaking, actually shat the bed. Played horrible. His role isn't even that great. They're using some other people because the Dogs are no longer as reliant coming out of defence. And he's just not playing himself. And now he's suspended. Catch him later.
There's a few things as well with that. So we got Crozier likely coming back this week. So they've got Crozier and Durea. Durea's been playing fantastic, and they're utilising him all over the ground.
Bailey Williams is killing it still, taking another step.
They've got Bailey Williams, they've got Bailey Dale, and then they've got Easton Wood as their medium defenders. And they've now got Lockie Young, who's actually played quite well, and Alex Keith there as their keys. Now, Caleb Daniel's obviously still their best user, but if he's not a best user, he's literally the biggest liability in their team. Because he can't defend, he can't take intercept marks, he can't spoil the ball. He very rarely lays a tackle, and he doesn't really get contested ball.
Caleb Daniels can defend. He can defend a low ball. He can defend a ground ball.
He can defend when someone kicks it behind, and then he gets a free possession from the kick out. And he's not even really being utilised. They're doing what I like to call the Carlton, which is anyone can take the kick outs at the Bulldogs right now, and I don't like that. If that's his only real role. His only role is as a user out of defence. You got to use him.
But I think it's like role and condition. I call it the environmental factors. If it's windy, Caleb's not kicking it because his leg's not strong enough. If it's wet, Caleb's not kicking it because he's not strong enough.
That also at Marvel, he could be the one that they go to because obviously you could take the wind out of the
sail.
And it was obviously it was very windy in the weekend, so that could be definitely a thing. I respect that. That's a nice little observation.
Well, yeah, environmental factors. It's not all me. It's partly
with the wind. He can almost make the 50-meter line.
It's partly my observations, and the environmental factors is all me. But some of the insights also JB.
Like, what do you think he averages? Like, let's say for the rest of the season, what is the average? Like, put a figure right now.
95.
Right now, take out the fact that he's also playing a game and remove what. So let's say you've got a rookie on field. That rookie's Cozzy, right? And
40.
he gets a 40.
Yep.
So now it's 55 points out of that overall, next 20 games? That's another 5 points per game.
20 games?
Oh, not even.
They play 22 minus 4. That's 18 points.
So now he's averaging 89 a game.
Well, fuck, I don't know, Chris. I don't have a calculator.
Well, let's just say it's 90, right? That's that's nowhere even in the realm of top 10 defenders right now. I think top 8 is Giath is 103, and the 10th is excluding guys that have played one game. Docherty is 10th at 99.9. So he's just nowhere near the realm of the top 10 defender. If you incorporate that, is that pretty accurate?
I'm just going to say yes. I found a calculator, but quick maths not my strong suit. Unless I can't even remember what we were figuring out. To be honest.
Yeah. So for me, it's 100% a trade out. I can't see the benefit of holding him at this stage of the season. If it was later in the season, you had less games to worry about. Potentially, you just hold him, and you probably have less trades. At this point, with the unknown of the season, you just got to trade. I just don't see a way around it. Now, who do you trade him to? That's the hard thing.
That is what we'll be getting to. And I think a lot of these will be linked depending on the issues that you have. The only interesting thing is, oh, wow. So this week, right, the only thing is that you could actually try and wait to see who, I'm just trying to work out if there's a way you can keep him, Chris. It's a funny one. It is.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I don't see.
I think a lot of these players are tripped in. So what I think we'll do is we'll go through and we'll talk about all the injured players and then recommendations, because at the moment people probably have sharp in midfield or defence.
So
they
you've
have
got some DPPs.
flexibility.
Yeah. Okay.
They also have forward mids that are flexible. So I think we'll give you a few options and then it'll be based on your team and role dependent as to what you go with.
Sounds good. Let's go.
So the
Butters,
next one. So
obviously a trade is 10 to 12 weeks.
Butters is out. He's 501k. He has to be gone. Isaac Heeney, 448k, 2 to 3 weeks. I still think, again.
I think that's more of a, are you playing league or are you playing overall?
Yeah.
Like,
same as Daniel. I think Daniel, he can go overall. I think he's gone because he's shit.
No, I think either way, you don't want to be going into a matchup when you've got Daniel and they've got a top 6 defender.
That 19's a liability. Hey, that low scoring.
It's not even that. It's just like if you were expecting a 95 average or a 90 average from him for the rest of the season or any week, and you're going in against a top 6 defender, and the top 6 defender right now is like Jaden Short's like 6th. Like
Short, oh, is he? I thought he was a bit higher.
Yeah.
But if you had Daniel versus Short, you'd be shorting your pants.
you would be.
You would be.
That's
okay.
what I'm saying. Like they're so. Oh no, I think actually Rory Laird is 6 at like 105. You know what I mean? Like it's
they're killing. It's 10 points over.
You're getting killed. Like there's no way you're not getting absolutely destroyed.
Defense is the one spot this year. Everyone's flying because of the rebound rate, the quicker ball movement, the kick out rules. Everything's just crazy. We thought last year was good for defenders. This year is like last year on roids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taylor Adams, 506k. Obviously a trade out for, again, 10 weeks or so?
10 weeks out with an MCL.
Yep. Shannon Hurn, 476k. Break
2
even.
2 to 3, they've said.
2 to 3. Break even of 476. So at least he's still a good price as well.
Yeah, look, I don't know why you would have Shannon Hurn. He's going to probably do another one in about 4 weeks' time. So
yeah, we spoke. I feel like we jinxed him. We spoke about this literally last week, saying, "Yeah, look, he's good. He's scoring well, but again, he's old and he's probably going to do a calf." And next minute, bang, does a calf.
We probably did jinx him.
Is this our fault?
But this happened. This has been happening ever since the back end of 2 years ago. What was it? 2018.
He's had soft tissue injuries the last 24 months. It's sad. It
just is what it is. And so
probably his last year, surely.
If you've got the chance to, again, if you're playing for overall, you're probably trading him. If you're playing for league wins, you probably hold him for the next few weeks and then see if you can use him as a pod.
Depends on who your matchups are too. Have a look for leagues. Have a look at who you're playing. If you're playing the absolute nuffies down the bottom of the ladder, then you could probably hold and actually get lucky. You know, if you're playing the top of your league, and that's just a logistical.
No, that's absolutely
scenario.
I've totally done that in draft before.
If you're playing the top of your league,
I could totally get through the next few weeks. I'm not trading.
But if you have a look and you're going, okay, these are actually really strong people. I want to either shore up my win-loss percentage, or you want to actually try and win, then you might move him on. If you're playing nuffies and they're literally all of their bench is 102k rookies and they have no idea, then you're like, yeah, cool, that's fine.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, so now go into options. We'll go defenders, midfielders, and forward options, and this is going to be really, really team dependent. Some of you have cash in the bank, like me. Some of you have bare bones, no fucking cash. So it's going to be harder for you if you have a 450 or 60k defender. Now,
this is where Waterman becomes key, because a lot of people are looking at, like, say, a Jordan de Waterman, because that gives them the ability to upgrade to an actual super premium or someone that they just really didn't have.
And Waterman could be the stack of 2021 where he looks okay and you don't think he's that great. Next minute, he pulls out a couple of good scores and everyone's going, what the hell?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Ridley, 614k, averaging 133, break even of 88. He's still going up in price, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Look...
Would you move mountains? Now, here's the thing. Now,
you have the cash.
We've had some.
I feel bad about going like one down, one up.
Daniel to Ridley's like 150,000. Considering they probably started at the same price, one of them's climbing Everest and the other one's cleaning fucking gutters.
I think you got to, because it's probably the only chance you're going to be able to have to. Like, so what I mean by that
surely Ridley drops a low score at some point.
You've got a guy that's 460k. And you only need 150k, which is a one down, one up. No, I know.
2 trades to sideways?
But Ridley's averaging, right now, is averaging 53 points per game more. It's not like Isn't he the number one Supercoach player right now? Ridley it'd be him or Gawn.
Oh, 133. I don't know. Gorn's close.
Now, I'm not
Tex
saying...
Walker's close, Chris.
I know that it's unlikely that Ridley holds this level of form for the year. I understand that. I can see that. But let's say he averages 115 for the season, which is very plausible. It's 18 points per game, less than what he's averaging right now. Then when he drops cash, is he going to drop enough for you to be able to jump on him at that specific moment in time? Or do you take advantage of this, what we've got right now, where you got a guy that's 460K, or you've got, say, a Butters at almost 500K, and you can quite easily one down, one up, if you can do it in your team. So I actually really like that.
So let's talk one down.
And you're getting him early. Remember, you're getting him in round 4 as opposed to round 12. So you're gaining 8 rounds of scoring to catch up to the group.
Yeah, if you're going for overall, not a bad ploy. Chris, don't interrupt me again.
Sorry.
I don't like it when you interrupt me. Okay, so
Pleasure away, Richard.
So one down, one up options. One down, one up, Caleb Daniel to Ridley. One down, one up. If you don't have the cash, you could go from Butters to a Dunkley if you don't have him already, or a Dustin Martin who's 611K, obviously played one game. The problem with Dangerfield, it's Dangerfield. 611K for Dangerfield. The problem is with Dangerfield is 14% held him.
Yeah, they're all league players for sure.
Yeah, league players. Now, if you're playing overall and Butters has killed it and you have the money, you could look elsewhere. But Dangerfield, 14% owned, obviously league players. So if he does well, you could actually bump yourself up. They're the only one down and one up options. If you have the cash, would you go Butters to Dunkley first of all? It's 100K. Would you spend 100K going from Butters to Dunkley if you don't have him? Well, now, 40%,
yes.
48% of the comp have Dunkley.
I would 100% get Dunkley before I got Danger. But would I get... If you didn't have Ridley or Dunkley, I don't know who I'd go with. The reason is, exactly like you said, Dangerfield's not going to hurt you right now. Now, most people aren't going to get Dangerfield until the round 1 bye, the round 12 bye. So
they actually have a harder round coming up from now to the bye before it gets slightly easier. They've had their early run. I think they might have this week's the easiest one for a little bit, North Melbourne. Then Geelong actually gets a little bit harder, has their bye, easier run again.
Yeah, and so for me, I personally would 100% lock in Dunkley if you don't have him. Now, obviously, he's in 48% of teams. A lot of people already have Dusty. Do you want Danger? I don't know if it'd go to one down, one up. He's not important enough to get. Ridley, on the other hand, is super important to get. So
for that price?
Yeah, if
same
you can
price.
somehow swing to get Ridley instead of going to Danger, that's what I'd do.
Yeah, one averaging 133, the other Dangerfield averaging 92. He's going to drop.
Well, he could possibly drop cash. Like, don't get me wrong, we don't know what role he's going to play. He comes out in the preseason, Brad Scott, and he says, is it Chris Scott? Brad Scott? It's Chris Scott, isn't it?
Fuck Chris. Both the Scotts.
And he goes, he's going to be playing pure midfield. Round 1 comes out and he plays so much forward time, it's ridiculous. Only scores a 92 and just burns everyone that started with him. He gets suspended and then we can reevaluate. So we just don't know. And maybe that was the plan with Cameron in the side, but we haven't got any exposed form with Cameron in the side. So until Cameron comes back, we really don't know. I would rather just wait around, see what happens, and again, you've got all the way up to the bye to make that decision. So I don't see the reason to really urgently get him.
Quick sidetrack. Jeremy Cameron, maybe they rest him for a week, but surely half a game at full forward is like...
Apparently you can play people in the AFL at 55% time on ground.
Yeah, just play Jeremy Cameron at full forward. They're playing North Melbourne, for God's sake. Just sit him in the square and play him half game time. That's like a full game of VFL. Surely.
I mean, in 4 minutes, Tex got 50, scoring 2 goals in the first 4 minutes last week.
Yes.
Wow, big Texan.
Okay, so Ridley's done. Bo's 503K, averaging 115.5. Break even at 93. Now, here's the advantage. Bo's 5% of teams, but Bo's pushed up the ground a little bit more last week.
Yeah, later in the game. So I love Bose, and I think we've all been waiting for this breakout. He's taking majority of the kickouts. I think last week there was 13 kickouts. He took 7, and Power took 6. Now,
how many though early compared to late?
Exactly, yeah, because he moved up further. So I think he's still the one taking the kickouts, but because he was moved up the field later in that game, then it was switched over to Powell.
Would it bode well to get Bose?
Yes. Now, here's the thing with Bose. So it is risky. Now, there are other options for a similar price that you can also get in. Now, he's 503K, so he's not exactly cheap. You're still going to have to find money to get him unless you're saying Butters is very similar.
Well, Daniel,
price.
would you spend 50K, Daniel, to Bose?
100% I would. I'd do it in a heartbeat because I do believe that he's actually going to be a top 6 defender.
I believe.
Now, the thing is, you're banking on a breakout at this point. So we've got 4 games of exposed form. In those 4 games, he's had 3 in his entire career. He's had 3 30-possession games in his entire career. They've all been this season. So is it a breakout? It looks like a breakout. It screams of a breakout. But there's every chance that this only lasted as a purple patch for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever, and then he drops off a cliff.
Bose has had runs of 6 games or so before averaging 90 to 100. I can't remember when, but then he dropped off a cliff.
The difference this year
I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to talk about him because I dropped him in a keeper league because I didn't have room for him, Chris.
So you didn't realise, and no one did, that Lukosius would be moving up to a wing, this is the biggest impact, by the way.
Lukosius was shit.
Moving to a wing.
What happened to my recommendation? Lukosius is shit. Your prediction, Bose.
Wingers, I'm telling you.
Wingers are shit.
Wingers are shit at Supercoach. They just there should be a wing position and then we could all use them. But him moving up to the wing means that he's become the designated user out of defence. Because look, they used the long, accurate kick of Lukosius last year. He was taking a lot of the kickouts. Now they're using Bose almost exclusively as that role. He can win his own ball. He tackles hard. He intercepts the ball. I think is a great selection. He's a risky selection, but he's a good selection. Now, having said that, there are others you could look at.
Jaden Short, 533K, averaging 108.3, break even at 99. 36% of teams, though.
So this is the thing. So if you want to go a safer option and go with the crowd.
Didn't Short play wing as well?
He moved up the ground. Yep.
What the fuck?
Still had some kickouts. He played a lot.
If he's there.
He didn't play the entire game on a wing. He just moved up to he's transitioned between halfback and wing.
That still concerns me. I don't like.
Played well.
I already have Josh Kelly. I already have people with roles that are unknown. So I don't really want to choose other people who just move as they please.
I don't mind it. I mean, he scored 125 in that role. I'm happy with it. The safety in numbers is the safety pick really is actually Tom Stewart. So the one that we really haven't touched on yet is someone that is just plodding along. And I looked at his figures. He's literally averaging the exact same possessions and almost the exact same marks as he did 2 years ago where he averaged 100. And he's averaging 98 right now. I said this year and we said this year, he's a guy that's just going to average 100 and that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's going to be around that top 10.
Yeah,
he's not going to burn you if you don't have him, but he's going to be serviceable the entire time.
He's the kind of player you take home at 3 a.m. after you buy a hot dog with cheese from the dusty old vending machine.
Absolutely.
Chris.
Absolutely. He
Nothing
is.
wrong with tried and true and steady and goes under the radar.
Now, if he could learn to kick forward instead of sideways, he would be fucking averaging a lot more. But that's what I call the Docherty syndrome.
Yep.
Docherty loves a good sideways or backwards kick that doesn't score you as many points. He loves it. But that's another option. Sam Docherty is actually averaging 99.3.
Yep. What's his look as an owner, Chris? Tell me what he's like, because sidetracking right now, I'm thinking of Jordan Clark, and I can't believe they're playing him forward of the ball.
Right?
This week, actually, North Melbourne, Jordan Clark could do well.
No, small forwards against North Melbourne have.
What happened to the back pocket racking up the pill, Jordan Clark? Now he's playing forward flank or forward. I don't even know that when they're trying to transition. He's
pocket
trying to,
man. He plays a pocket, but he
trying
plays
to
that
run
Richmond style pocket.
And he's trying to run into an open forward line to get the ball, but they're going to like Hawkins now.
Yeah. He's played as a Richmond style forward pocket player who gets up the ground and then runs back in transition. That's what he's played as.
It's frustrating. Okay,
it's annoying to
let's not talk about him.
Docherty. So Docherty's playing he's playing fantastic football, and if you look at his pure numbers, his possessions are insane. He's marking the ball is at an insane rate. His efficiency is good without being fantastic, and his scoring all right. Now, unfortunately, he's not getting. Again, the Carlton thing is a lot of people are taking kickouts. Now, last week he had 4, which was the team high. But the next, I think, was Lockie Plowman with 3. Then they have, Preserves Seaton or whatever had a couple. And then, Wiedering will come in with a couple. Like, there's no one, like, he's not the one, like at Essendon, where there's 13 points and Ridley's having 11 out of 13 kicks.
Fair call. Now, would you bring in Docherty though if you didn't have him, or would you say,
He's only in 10%. It's just not hurting you enough. Like, even if he goes 150 this week, there's so few people that have him, especially in the top 1,000, that why even bother? Like, do you really need to take the risk on someone like a Docherty who is playing well enough that he could comp some attention at some point like he did last season? I'm just not sure that you'd really need to.
Okay. And Callum Mills, 543K. I think he's about 80 or so more than Caleb Daniel. 110.8 average.
Looked
break
fucking
even.
Brilliant in the first half last week.
Oh, he did. 7%
slowed down,
owned.
thank God.
7% owned. Break even at 122. I nearly brought him in last week, and at halftime I was like, why? Scores of 154, 93, 109, and 87. Is he someone that you would bring in if you had the cash for Caleb Daniel, or would you just try and find another way? Would you go 10K cheaper? Would you go a short over Callum Mills, or would you try and get all the way? If you could, obviously you'd say yes to Ridley, but otherwise, short or Mills for you?
I'd go short for the safety. I just don't think you need Mills. Also to consider at this point when bringing players in is your buy structure. So how does changing, say, a Daniel or a Butters or whatever change your buy structure? If you're going for overall, that is. So, bringing in Mills, do you have Lloyd? Do you have Laird? What does your back combination work out to be? Can you cover it by the buys? Those are considerations. I love Mills as an option, but if I'm tossing up between Mills and short, I'd probably just go short for safety and numbers, and I'd probably even potentially just go Stewart at a cheaper price for safety. Mills is a guy that can burn you if he doesn't progress or something happens. He's almost a negative pod at that point.
Yeah, 7% owned, I agree. As a Josh Kelly owner, the negative pod is real. Okay, so midfield options, we'll touch on the expensive ones later as upgrade possibles and people you should be looking out for. But if you don't have the cash and if you have those failed premiums, etc., I think Walsh is still someone you can look at. 553K, he's still priced reasonably. Otherwise, in a week or so, I think Neale's going to be cheap enough. I think Titch will be dropping again to probably around that 550 or 560K. Zac Merrett's also dropping, and these are guys who can go on runs. It's definitely about team, like matchup related at this point.
I honestly am not attracted to absolutely anyone else in midfield other than Macrae, Steele, or Oliver. They're the only ones I give a shit about. Everyone else is like, eh.
Yeah, even Titch is...
No one's going to hurt you.
No. Titch has a good run coming up, which we'll get into. But
Titch last week, I'll tell you what.
Save it. And the last one for the forwards, we've already gone on to Dunkley, Dusty, Dangerfield. What a tongue fucking twister. Zorko, 494K. Our man Zork. I'm, from this point forward, #blessing Zorko for that video.
If you don't bring him in this year...
I will.
If you don't, I will literally lose my shit at you.
I will.
I'm going to lose it.
I will.
Because I'm not bringing him in because I think he's playing shit.
When their draw eases up after their bye, I'm jumping on because he will go crazy.
I mean, it could be a good F7, you know?
How about an FU?
He actually could with that. Look at those price rates. That's exactly a great F7.
How about
he's
FU?
He's on 114.64. 115.70. He's a great loophole option. And those Sunday games later in the year when they're going to reschedule the teams that are not going to make the finals, you're going to be great for that.
Oh, fuck you. How dare you? As a Collingwood supporter, how dare you?
Yeah, exactly. I know what it's going to be like. I'm going to enjoy my Sundays this year.
You do. But speaking of eyes open and looking at premiums, if you don't have Macrae, if you have some injuries like Adams, etc., Macrae's
a must-have.
Macrae's still Oliver, and it's funny because we spoke about players that can play inside and out. Now, we extended it to Macrae. I extended it to Josh Kelly, but I just didn't know he wasn't playing inside or out. He was playing on the fucking forward flank.
That's true.
Macrae averaging 125, break even at 132, 31% owned. Awesome must-have. If you don't have him, try and get him at any cost, even if that means you have another injured player. Get to him if you can.
That's definitely if you have Daniel and you can cover the back line with, say, a Chapman or something like that, and you can go one down, one up and get Macrae, 100%, you pull that trigger.
Next one is you're looking at Steele, 653K, averaging 124, break even of 101. So he has a fairly low break even. Now, my concern for them is they play Richmond this week, Port next week, Hawks and Suns eases up. Geelong Bulldogs is a bit harder. But the benefit is, before the bye, Saints are playing Hawks, Suns, North Melbourne, Adelaide.
Yep.
About that.
And well, Richmond don't tag. Or however, having said that, I heard that they might be looking to start that. I don't know if that's the thing that they're going to try and.
Maybe they're being beaten so comprehensively.
Who knows?
Geez, it would be great to have Swizz on this pod, wouldn't it? Hey, Swizzy.
Where is Swizz?
Oh, we left him out.
Yeah, classic. We probably should.
Swizz.
Sorry, mate.
Swizz is the Highmore of Supercoach Insider.
See, get him on later.
Jeez.
Anyway, so no. Okay, so I'll talk for a little bit while you do that. But Macrae absolute must have. I can't believe you don't. Now, here's the thing that you need to be aware of. If you already have Macrae, I think Steele's a great in, potentially even this week before he goes up in price. If you don't get him now, then you're probably waiting about 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks. He's got to drop a poor score before he comes back into price calculations. From next week, Oliver is going to be available. So it's going to be probably around 600. If he gets 115, he drops below 600K. Now, I personally plan on bringing Oliver in either next week or the week after. So my upgrade cadence is going to start a little bit earlier, and I'm going to take a little bit more risk and aggressively trade to get Oliver to try and strengthen my midfield. So have a look at that. Because of the 67 that's in his cycle, this week or next week, next week or the week after, are weeks that you have a red flag on bringing Oliver in. So you got to try and get him in the next 2 weeks if you don't have him, obviously. So
yeah, I kudos that. I am looking at getting Titch in like it's a plague on fire. Hawks, Richmond, North, Sydney, Carlton, Adelaide. He could go absolute gangbusters if. Oh,
he did go gangbusters last week and got 107.
But even still, like Warple apparently is tagging now. I don't even know why that's happening.
Warple tagged Brayshaw, and then in the second half, this is what happened. Warple tagged Brayshaw and destroyed him so much that the coach went to Brayshaw and said, "No, you tag Mitchell instead." So then Brayshaw was tagging Mitchell. That's what happened in the second half. Would not let him leave a meter, and so obviously Brayshaw then wasn't chasing the ball like he usually would. So in the first half, he got tagged. Second half, he wasn't getting the ball. However, he got the ball late in the fourth when they released it all, and Titch was just trying to get open, and left Brayshaw to do whatever he wanted, and then Titch just couldn't find the ball. Yeah. Anyway.
So I'm looking at him, Oliver. I'm also looking at Titch for the simple reason he's done okay so far, chipping away. Melbourne don't generally tag. I mean, Brayshaw, other players have done really well against Melbourne. They just kind of back themselves in. Then they have Adelaide, Saints, Eagles, North, Carlton, Suns, Sydney, Bombers, Giants. Now, you look at, North Melbourne midfield's not strong. Even West Coast Eagles at the moment.
North Melbourne are the second best midfield according to Champion Data. Thank you very much.
Bullshit. But you have a look. So Adelaide, he could do well against. Saints will probably be, they'll just back themselves in because Brad Crouch ain't chasing anyone. Eagles, they're without half their midfield, and they're probably more worried about getting tagged than actually running with someone. North Melbourne, Carlton, Suns. I think it's a really good matchup. I would not be surprised if Titch actually goes 120 for that next sort of 6 to 8 games.
Yeah, no, that's why I bring him in.
Yeah.
But,
it's a tough one.
Would I bring him in? Okay, so knowing what I know now with Oliver's price dropping to what I think it could be, if I've got a chance to get Oliver instead of Titch, I just get Oliver.
Yep.
Now, I think Titch could go really well as well. I'd rather have both, but because I think there's more of a chance of Oliver hitting that fucking huge score in the coming weeks that you just go, oh, wow, I wish I had Oliver now.
Yeah, you know I think if you don't have Oliver, you need to look.
That 170 from Oliver's coming. It's around the corner, right?
I wish it was coming.
He had a 90-point second half last week. Dude, he was good in that second half. And unfortunately, I didn't watch it live. At halftime, it was on like 43. He was getting tagged earlier in the game. And I was like, oh, man, I'm so glad I don't have Oliver.
Next minute.
I turn around and literally I'm like, oh, why do I feel sheepish?
That's unlike you to go the early crow.
Yeah, it really is, eh?
Interesting. Now, I do agree. Now, Zac Merrett's another one. Taranto, 463K for Taranto. I'll get on to Merrett just after that. Averaging 94.5, break even of 67, 28% owned. If you are struggling for cash, would you rather move some? He's basically nearly a straight swap for a Daniel.
There's no way in hell I would trade Taranto right now.
But you're an owner.
Nope.
Aren't you an owner?
I've watched him for the last 3 weeks, and every single week, his problem is not his ability to get the ball. He had 32 disposals last week. He had like 8 marks, 6 tackles or something stupid. Like, he's racking up the pill. He's just not using it right. Now, the best thing that you can have in Supercoach is a guy, well, it's not the best thing, obviously. The worst thing you can have in Supercoach is a guy who uses it well but just doesn't get enough pill.
Josh Kelly.
Right. So, and look, they're going to generally have high floors because they're never going to, kick those clangers or whatever that decrease their scores. Now, Taranto has the opposite problem. He can get the ball. He's just not using it well. There's going to be those games where he's going to have 32 possessions and 8 marks and 6 tackles, and he's going to score 160 because all you need to do is just have a day where you're using the pill better. That's all he really needs to do. Now, if that becomes a trend by the buyers, then I can look to sideways him to someone else or I can upgrade him. But at the moment, I'm completely comfortable with what he's doing. I'll keep him for the entire season at this point. But
if you don't have him,
playing midfield for the GWS Giants as opposed to some other guys that I know.
Fuck up. But if you don't have him, would you get him in?
No chance. No. I wouldn't be trading him in if I didn't have him.
Fair call.
Because why trade a guy in at 460k that's not in your forward line or defense? At that point, I mean, the starting price obviously is fine, but you're not trying to trade him in now thinking that he's all of a sudden going to. He could average 90 for the next 4 weeks. Or he could average 120. You just don't know. I'm just not getting rid of him based on his current form.
Yeah, that's fair. And his role.
Yeah, his role's amazing. Like, he's got the perfect role. He's playing pure inside midfielder. He loves a little cheap sideways 45-degree mark and kick. Like, he loves getting those uncontested, but he can also get it inside and he tackles well.
Okay, so let's go to underperforming premiums. I thought
we were already talking about them with
we were. He's not a premium.
Yeah, he is.
You fucking high.
I'm keeping him all year.
Zac Merrett, last one, 579k, averaging 103.8, break even of 120, 23% owned. If you have him, surely you just hold. Zac Merrett started.
Absolute same problem that Taranto has. He's getting the pill. He's just not using it very well. And so if that's your worst problem, that will turn around. That's a form thing. That's not a problem getting the pill or a role change or anything like that. Like, he's getting the pill. He's just not using it well. Move on. Continue to have him. I don't see it as an issue. Yeah, I'd be looking to get him in.
It's funny he's having the issue and, Clary, who generally doesn't use it that well, is using it well. Or he's just getting it all contested handball, and, mate. Handball. Yeah, handball. Contested handball. If you get uncontested, you're screwed.
Merrett and Taranto both kick a lot. And unfortunately, they're both... I mean, look, what Merrett tries to do, I think Merrett's actually a good kick, but he tries too much with his kicks. It's a little bit of Dusty in that. Like, Dusty kicks, and he's a good kick, but because he tries so much with it, sometimes he turns it over or does something stupid or whatever. And that unfortunately decreases his ceiling. But
let someone else take the risk.
Yeah, absolutely. Just handball someone under pressure. We call that the Dow.
No, Dow fumbles under pressure.
If you could even take clean possession.
Okay. Underperforming premiums. We'll start with the big one. Lachie Neale, 585k, break even at 168. Is it too late to move him on?
I think it is.
I think it is. He's not losing another 150k from here.
It's not even that. It's like, at this point...
You've made your bet?
If you didn't know for the last 2 weeks already, you just kind of have to... You got to be like, oh, I made a mistake, and now I've got to try and hope that he comes back in. Like, if he come in this week and pumped out a 140, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it's Essendon.
But I could not give a shit if he did.
Essendon or gift 140s.
Yeah, I don't think that that's the norm for him this year at this stage until we see it. So I wouldn't be like trying to bring him in yet. But if you've got him, I wouldn't be trading him. There's no way. At this point, you just got... Who are you going to go to? You're not going to make any money out of it.
So
it's
Steve...
just literally a sideways for no reason.
Steve Riverland says, would you sideways Clary, Steele, or would you hold Lachie Neale?
Oh, so if you were going Lachie to Steele or Neale, so that's not sidewaysing. That's upgrading.
It's sideways.
No. You got to put money onto it.
Oh, so it makes it an upgrade.
Exactly
technically,
right. 100%.
Technically, but would you do it?
It's also 40 points per game at the moment.
Looking at the next 18 rounds or whatever, would you do it? I would not. I would hold. I think you've made it.
No, here's how I would answer that. What do you play for? Do you play for league or do you play for overall? If you're playing for league, you're holding 100%.
Overall, you're holding. If you're trading now, which is what we're going to get into Josh fucking Kelly.
Here's what I'll say.
You're not upgrading earlier because you're trading to sideways at round 5.
If you haven't used many trades, then I can see a situation where you still trade him.
But is Neale going to average you that much less than Oliver for the rest of the year?
I think best case scenario for Oliver, 115 to 120. And I think best case from here to the end of the season for Lachie Neale, not including his last 4 games, I'm saying 110 to 115. So is it worth the trade?
Lachie Neale's going to average you 120 for the rest of the year.
Are you fucking on?
Yeah.
Sometimes you say shit, and I don't know if you actually think about it before you say it.
I'll take 115 or above.
Are we going to make another bet in the season? Because currently you're really, really losing these bets. You're so far behind.
Who are they playing this week? Essendon. Yeah, 115 or above from this week on. Yeah.
All right. Let's put terms on this though. This can wipe out one of the other bets. Is that the term?
But what if I lose?
Well, then it's another $50. All right. Yeah. All right.
Lachie Neale, 115.
Hey. I would choose.
I'm empty.
Yeah.
Also my wallet. Okay, so yeah, I think you hold. Chris has other opinions. Steele Sidebottom, 531k, break even of 181, 2% owned, scores of 87, 51, 79. What are you doing if you have Steele? I think you should have moved last week, surely.
Sidebottom.
Sidebottom, yeah.
Why do people have Steele? He didn't even play the first couple of rounds.
Leagues, or they brought him in thinking nice little POD.
Draft, I suppose.
Dangerfield to Steele would have been working.
Steele's a guy that you look to upgrade to. If you have him, I wouldn't be trading him out. I think you'd hold him. I think
Adam's out. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. And I saw him play a lot more mid. Look, he's getting the ball. He's just not using it to his usual standards. I think Sidebottom comes good this year. When I say come good, I mean he averages 100 to 105. So don't think that you're going to have an Uber premium by getting Sidebottom. I don't think that. But I do think that for the next 10 weeks, I think he's going to play a lot more inside than he has previously. They're not going to throw Finn Macrae into an inside midfielder. They're going to throw someone like Sidebottom in there. The other thing is Si's done nothing. Greenwood, how does he even getting a gig? I don't know. All of it's weird. I think that Sidebottom will play a lot more midfield as opposed to forward, at least for the next 10 weeks, which will hopefully increase his ceiling. So I think he's a hold.
Okay. Josh Kelly, 556k, break even at 135, 6% owned, including me and Tim Smith. Shout out, mate. I didn't forget about you. Would you hold or trade Josh fucking Kelly?
Trade.
Yeah, that
but
hurts.
he's if you have Daniel and you've got Josh and you've got 800 other issues, he's probably the last one you move.
See, I'm on the fence, Chris. Now, I have the money to be able to go Josh Kelly to Steele to Clary, etc. But then it ruins my plans to bring in, say, Oliver now or next week. So instead of having the extra premium, I am now a week or so behind because I've got the money to essentially, I can go Jordan straight to a Titch, or I can go what's his name?
Do you have Walsh?
Edwards. I've got Walsh. What's his name? Henry. I can go Henry down to Waterman. I can go Jordan up to Clary. That's how much cash I've got.
I mean, if I was in your situation, how much is Josh Kelly?
550 and change. Where is he?
I'd be going someone equal or less so it doesn't impact your trade-in plans. So someone like, say, a Brayshaw.
No,
He's had 2 bad weeks. He's probably going to drop even more cash, unfortunately.
Brayshaw is. He's 513k, break even of 186. At least Josh Kelly's break even is 135.
I agree with you, but let's think about this from a points perspective. He's not going to get tagged every week for the rest of the season. That's just not going to happen.
Who, Josh Kelly?
Definitely not.
Okay, Josh Kelly.
No, I'm talking about
They've
Brayshaw.
had a hard run, but again, coming up to the bye rounds, they play your Adelaides, they play your North Melbournes.
GWS are shit.
They are.
They are fucking
and
shit.
Don't bring logic to this, Chris, because I did post out. I started venturing, and I'm like, what do they average in wins? What is the average in losses?
That just tells you how bad Collingwood are, by the way. So they can't even score a fucking win.
Josh Kelly averages 20 points less in losses the last 4 seasons, which hurts me because I don't think they're going to win. But Josh Kelly, could I do worse than have him in a M8 and keep him as a trade?
No, that's why I'm saying
Tim Smith, surely.
If he's your least of your problems, great. But he's not the least of your problems. He's like your only problem.
Him and Luke Ryan are my only problem, and they're not even that much of a problem, really.
Luke Ryan, man.
Yeah, I know, but Luke Ryan's just waiting for some tall premiums to come in.
So you're ranked in the top 1,000.
Yep.
You have a guy that's in 6% of teams that's continually burning you. He's a massive negative pod for you. You need to get him out yesterday. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know.
He's killed. How much of the rest top 1,000 have Josh Kelly right now?
Not many, but if he goes well, I'll be like the only guy. Josh Kelly. Yeah. Ned Kelly? No? Okay.
Okay, so here's what we've seen so far this year from Leon Cameron. We've seen like
sucks.
4 midfielders get injured, and he refuses to play Josh Kelly in the midfield. He does not. He's like that African dude. He's like, I don't give a fuck. He's like, he legit doesn't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
He's like, Supercoach, who the fuck is that?
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck about you guys.
I'm coaching this team. I don't care.
He does not care about your pod. So I'm just saying, and if you're worried about your upgrade cadence in the next coming weeks, then go someone, maybe trade to a forward line premium or trade to I can Dusty. You could get Dusty.
Oh, fuck. He's 70% owned. I've made that bet. I can go Jordan to Titch, and I'll talk about this later, but yeah, it's an interesting one. Now, if you have Josh Kelly and you have the cash, and you can move him on. If you're going for overall, Chris seems to think it's a good idea. Everything tells me it's a good idea, but I'm like, man, surely against some of these other teams, Josh Kelly's going to break out with some big-ass scores. Is he going below 500K,
you know
though?
what I think?
Is he going below 500?
I've noticed something in your teams, and I need to bring this out to everyone. If they're a really good-looking dude, you just hold them. You're just like, you know what? That guy's got big guns. I'm holding him.
Who am I holding?
Last year, you're like, Jai Simpkin, I really need that guy for the entire season. Look at those guns.
Did I bring in Jai Simpkin? Maybe late?
Yeah, you did. I'm just fucking with you. No,
I didn't.
You're attracted to the Kelly a little bit too much. And I think you need to like dial it a little bit back.
No, I feel like if you chose Josh Kelly, you've chose a premium pod and he hasn't started well. So you're kind of like, surely he turns it around.
In the preseason, you were like, oh, I don't know. It comes to the regular season, it's like round 4. He's fucking burned you 4 weeks in a row and you're still like, oh, I don't know. Like, come on, bro. What's it going to take?
An injury.
He was on like 60 at 3/4 time, and like, oh no, it was on like 40.
No, that's this week. The first 3 rounds, he was like top scorer at 3/4 time, and then did nothing in the 4th quarter. This was reversed. He's making progress.
What's going to make it change? An injury.
Look, I
Do
don't
you know who you're talking about? He's going to get injured.
That's what I mean.
That's why he's playing on the half forward flank, so he doesn't get injured. He probably plays 22 games this year.
For the Josh Kelly owners, I feel like you've chosen an injury-prone premium, hoping he comes good. And if he's not injured, you kind of feel like you need to keep him because he's not injured. That's the problem that we're in. Luke Ryan, the other problem, 538K, break even at 124, 10% owned. I am also one of those nuffies. 84, 101, 99, 92.
Can't trade him.
Can't trade him. He's not the biggest of the problems at all.
It's not even that.
They're waiting for the tall defenders to come back in. He's playing tall.
Luke Ryan plays half a season every single season. Now, unfortunately, that seems to be the first half of the season that he's not playing this year. You watch the second half of the season, you'll love those 140s. But I don't know why.
He has a high ceiling, yeah.
He has these huge purple patches, and then he just drops off a cliff for a half a season. So I would be holding 100%. There's no reason to trade him.
What I'm worried about is that he had that knee to the back and that knee knock, and we know he had a slip disc earlier, but nothing was spoken about it. So I took a risk over him.
He's had back issues for like 2 years, bro.
Oh, well, get behind me.
You know this.
Get my back.
You know that he's had back issues for like 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
When you dude, you know this better than I do, and that's why I don't know why you picked him.
Because no one else had him at the time. I was like, point of difference, pods, let's go.
Sweet. Jack Bose was still there.
Anyway, Angus Brayshaw, last one we'll talk about.
Andrew Brayshaw, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, the other brother.
Hold.
Andrew, 513, break even at 186, got tagged the last 2 weeks. He's dropping cash. He is dropping big time, 125, 132.
He's on my radar, but here's where I don't think that I'll give him in. Is it because I have 5 midfielders right now, And I think that my next three will be Steele, Oliver, and
Lockie Neale.
Lockie
115.
Neale. It will be, yeah. It'll probably be Lockie Neale once he's really dropped off. So depending on how I think he will go and if he does come back, I might pick up Brayshaw. But do I really want Brayshaw and Steele as potential breakouts this season? Am I banking on one or the other?
Steele.
Walsh. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, Steele's breaking out, mate.
How much is Brayshaw averaging for me to get the benefits out of that? Because he really needs to be averaging, say, 110 plus to be, say, an M7. Because I still have Taranto at M8 right now.
Yeah, no, you're screwed.
So
if you don't
I'm
have
not attracted
Walsh,
to a pick like Brayshaw when there's Oliver and Steele that I don't have. Or someone like a Bont. Like Bont's dropping cash too.
yeah, but Bont's doing the Zorko at the moment. He's up and
Yeah,
down, up and down. He needs 2 bad games in a row, and then you're looking at
But he does go on these runs, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking at Bont dropping cash and I'm just like, oh.
Oh, Bont like a hot curry, dropping everything.
Plus he cut his hair. He's so much more better looking.
Are you talking about me about the look factor?
I know. I'm just saying. No,
Fucking hell.
it's
Okay,
added
so
some inches because he's now spiking it.
right. Final note: if you don't have Brayshaw, you don't have Walsh, you don't have Taranto. If Brayshaw drops cash,
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100% go.
You would jump on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one of them's decent. Two's a kind of partial
I
liability.
just don't like the risk of having
Yeah.
all 3 of them, or even 2 of them. Really, I'm not loving it, but yeah, I don't mind Brayshaw. I just think that you remind yourself who else you're bringing into your team this season, and if you don't have Oliver, if you don't have Titch, if you don't have Steele, if you don't have Macrae,
Yeah,
then
you're in a world of pain.
You're in trouble. So yeah, just have a think about that before you do it.
Okay, and the last thing we'll touch on is VC and C options. I think there is only one way forward.
Yes.
If for the Macrae and Gawn owners, I think it's a straight up
boom.
Straight up VC on Macrae and C for Gawn, and hope you have a loophole, because if Sharp plays, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do, Chris.
Yeah, no.
Because Collingwood play. Did Collingwood play
still
early?
not play.
Collingwood play Friday night, so I'm in trouble.
Yeah, because you still got that Henry. Hey.
Well, unless well, I've got Henry, I've got Sharp, I've got Flynn. If Flynn plays,
Yeah, so Highmore's used this week. Sharp would be a great captain's loophole if he doesn't play, but obviously there's still rumours he might. Outside of that, we're going to really struggle.
Cozzy's probably playing, so unless you have like a
Cozzy
Fife,
probably will. I think there's.
Fife is the only one. I think
there's
is
an
it?
85% chance that Cozzy gets named.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I think that wraps us up. Really,
It does, yeah. That's well, yeah. So Macrae and Agorn. If you don't have Macrae, Steele, obviously. I think if you don't have Macrae, you probably have Steele or Oliver. I think they're also good shouts, but you can't go Oliver into Gawn, obviously. Steele on the against Richmond, I think is a very, very good VC, and it's a little bit unique. Richmond just generally don't tag their mids, and Steele's a guy that can just rack up the pill and he tackles very, very well. So
yeah, but Steele's average history versus Richmond's not great.
I know anyone's average history versus Richmond's
Yeah,
not really that great.
not only that, he's only broken out the last 12 months,
It's
really.
a VC.
So
I think you can afford it.
yeah, so that's your thoughts in a nutshell, Chris.
It is, in a nutshell.
No, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell. How did I get into this nutshell?
How did I get into this nut that's made of shell?
A visual joke for those at home on YouTube.
That wraps us up. Thank you very much for joining us, and look, until next time, you stay classy, Australia.
Oh, well done.